we're on apparently. I tell you what, absolute shambles behind the scenes at the moment. Welcome back to the Villa View post-match point with myself, Dan Bardell. I'm joined by Ty Bracey and Neil from For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast, my favourite podcaster at the moment. What wasn't my favourite tonight was watching Villa. I can't imagine for any minute that anyone that played on Monday against Fulham is going to be worried about their place after that. Pretty tepid, pretty tedious evening, to be fair. Ty, Neil, pleased to now come on and talk about it.
I mean, to be fair, mate, we've had a good run, haven't we? We've had a good few shows. It was only a matter of time before that would change. It's just, I thought the winning fighting mentality was, would have been instilled into the entire squad, but with some of the performances tonight, I think there was a few lazy performances tonight, if I'm honest.
Yeah, Neil, to be fair, I think we all quite enjoyed the cup game last week. I know I did, and I was expecting something similar tonight. So I went into last week with zero expectation when I saw the team, but tonight I actually had a little bit of expectation off the back of last week. But it just goes to show you. I mean, this is a Villa that me personally, I'm more comfortable with. I can't be doing all this winning and clean sheets. Tonight's the Villa I know and love. That's what it's all about for me.
It was a strange kind of type of game. Michael O'Neill brought out his Stoke team, I suppose, more so with probably a better mentality than the Villa team came onto the field with tonight. It almost had an international feel to it. It was very slow, ponderous. Everything was played in front of the back lines, both back lines. Their goal was nothing to write home about. They didn't do much either. I don't write an awful lot into that game. As I say, it was very much, I watched Michael O'Neill's teams playing League of Ireland football. He used to manage Shamrock Rovers over here as well, and like he's a very good tactically, and his international side stuff was good as well. But from tonight's game, it really was. It was like Faroe Islands versus Liechtenstein or something tonight. It wasn't of great quality, and I don't think anybody's going to be putting that in their highlight reel.
No, you talk about Michael O'Neill and his tactical flexibility, but I've got to say, I mean, Villa made light work of the back three against Fulham on Monday, as we all know. Stoke's back three, we couldn't really break it down. We didn't really have an answer to it. It was only really, there's a little spell at the start of the second half, and then at the end when Jed Steer was up for the corners that we looked like we might score. Should we read too much into the fact that our reserves couldn't break down their reserves? I mean, does it really matter? There'll be people that want a cut run. There'll be people that don't. For me, I don't like losing any game in particular, especially when you're a Premier League team playing a Championship team. But there isn't too much you can read into it, really, is there?
Don't think so. As I was saying to a couple of guys on chat earlier on, that the narrative is going to be that our backups aren't good enough, and yes, that is probably true. But when you play all 11 of our backups at one time, you're going to get disjointed performances. That Stoke team, those three centre halves for Stoke were better than the three centre halves that Fulham had. That Nathan Collins is going to be a star. That Nathan Collins is Irish player. He's going to be a star. Harry Suter was probably man of the match, and Bruno Martins Indy has caps for the Netherlands. So not being able to break down those three isn't exactly a horrible situation, considering it was Keenan Davis and it wasn't exactly our main striker. But it's a funny game. I can't get too high. I can't get too frustrated over it. I couldn't really pick many positives out from it at all. But it was just a funny game. It was one of those games that you kind of wanted it to go to penalties and for us to win on penalties and just kind of draw a line under it and kind of come back against Liverpool on Sunday. But just never really happened.
Yeah, and Ty, I've been doing a little bit of mathematics, and I think there's a couple of players at the moment who might not be able to make our 25-man squad for the Premier League. I think when we come to name it, I think we're oversubscribed in terms of 25. So there's a couple of people there that either A, needed to put themselves in the shot window, or B, needed to prove that they were good enough to get into the 25. And really, there was a few of them that did neither.
Yeah, mate, I mean, I definitely agree. As you said to Neil, just like it sounded... So some of those people aren't our reserves. Some of those people are, essentially our bench, and Hawes has gone off injured, worrying. Dick says a left centre back were down, so, I assume a conversation with regards to transfers might be a little bit different in the morning if we wasn't already in for a centre back. So I think that's definitely going to be a thing. But, as well, I'm not going to knock Keenan as a whole, but I think we need to bring another striker in. I think Wesley's going to be off the pace when he comes back. I think Keenan needs a season on loan in the Championship, because we're if anything happens to Ollie Watkins, we've got Traore can cover striker, but I'd rather him stay on the right wing and we bring out another out and out striker more than anything.
Yes, I mean it's way too early to be getting on Traore's back, obviously, but he was pretty quiet tonight. I mean, it was a disjoint performance all round. Sometimes when you do change all your players, you will have a game like that. It's just a fact of life. It's a fact of football. But Traore, for all that he was good last week, he never really got in the game at all tonight, did he?
No, he didn't at all, mate. But as you said, it's one of those. That was Stoke's, reserve team. Some of our bench, some of our reserve team. On a plus side, though, I didn't think Jacob Ramsey did too bad at all. Good to see him to get some minutes, but more importantly, it's just match fitness for most people, and that's probably what's in Dean's head more than a cup run to the final again.
Yeah, I mean, Neil, I was looking on social media through the game because I was a little bit bored, in fairness, and just after as well. And one of the players that seems to be getting the stick, it's the usual guy. It's Anwar El Ghazi. Now, I'm not for 1 minute suggesting he had the game of his life because he didn't. No one did. But I actually thought second half he was the only one who really looked like he might make something happen. Do you think people have been a little bit harsh on him?
I think, yeah. I don't know. So everyone's going to call me a hypocrite if I come on here saying that he was fantastic, because I usually give him about a 6 or a 5 out of 10 on a weekly basis. Look, I like what I like. I liked what he did tonight. That shot that he had was quite good. That little skip into the box was good.
Yeah,
Took a couple of balls to the byline, but he does that. But I just find that it's literally like you need to find a Wizard of Oz for him. You need to get him in footballing brain. He just doesn't. For me, that's the biggest problem. He's got all the physical attributes. He's fast. He's strong. He's athletic. He runs correctly. He's got good body mechanics. The whole lot. When you look at him, he looks like the player. It's just the decision making from time to time is silly. Like there in the first half, there was we had a free kick, and it was out in the corner of the edge of the area, but it was right out in the corner. And he goes for a shot, and I'm going like, no one scores from there. Not even Ronaldo, who he obviously models his game on, scores from there. Nobody does. It's just not a scoreable position, and it's those kind of frustrating things. But to give him his due, he did try and pull us into it by the scruff of his neck tonight. And if that goal goes in, I probably don't care if I'm a hypocrite now. I'm probably singing these praises, and it's, as a Villa fan, it's my right to be fickle. It's my right. It's my God-given right. but yeah, it's like he's very much a guy that I suppose the pressure is obviously on him because Jack is going to be playing his position. Bertrand Traore is in there. Who knows? Maybe Milat Rashica comes in late in the transfer window, something along those lines. You just don't know. Even Ross Barkley has been known to play out in the wide left at times. So he's very much under pressure from that point of view. And I don't know, really, is he kind of trying to meet the crescendo of the moment with it? And is he really trying to fight for his place? But then again, we're only seeing games for him in the Carabao Cup at the moment. So it's very unfair, I suppose, to say that about him as well.
Yeah, I mean, his stats from last season on the face of it in terms of productivity, goals and assists, it's not actually terrible. So I think a lot of the criticism we got last season is a little bit unfair. But I think the one thing that rankles Villa fans a little bit tight, it's, for example, when Davies puts that ball across the box and he's not breaking his neck to get on the end of it, doesn't really want to put himself in where it might hurt. Do you think that's the thing that annoys the Villa fans the most?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as that happened, the first thing that crossed my mind was Ollie Watkins probably would have been on the end of that, But it's just giving that extra 5-10% just to get on the end of it. I mean, don't get it wrong, Watkins has missed a couple of those, just not quite been in the right place at the right time when the ball's come in the box. But yeah, just tonight weren't meant to be, mate.
I mean, and Ty, how much did we need a cup run? Were you one of those people that wanted to see us do well in the cups and go on and have a run like we did last season, or do you just think it's not the end of the world us being out, especially when we're just playing the reserves anyway?
I mean, I think we've had last season. I think very quickly we realised that. Well, I definitely realised that I'd been far too optimistic based on pre-season. As soon as I seen us thump Leipzig, mate, I thought, here we go, ring the bells, get the beers out, it's time for a party. And, quickly realised that weren't the case. I think we've got a lot to look forward to this season in terms of quality, hungry players, new signings coming in and everyone gelling together. I'm really excited to watch us play some attractive football this season. I'm not disheartened at that, mate, no.
No, what about you, Neil? Because we've got such an affiliation with the tournament as well. Obviously, I know we haven't won anything since 1996, but when I was a kid, and I think me and you were similar ages when you were a kid, Villa were winning the Coca-Cola Cup as it was then, and we've just been starved of any trophy for so long now. So for me, I don't know whether you're the same, because I grew up on that. Ty's a little bit younger than us, I think, because I grew up on us winning that cup. I want to see it happen again, and it's just been so long now.
Yeah, 94, 96, definitely live in the memory, all right. And you know, even since then, obviously the final against United that I still think to this day we should have won. And last year, you know, we do have an affinity with the cup. It would be nice. I saw somebody popped up a post there to say that, you know, it was a wasted chance to get into the quarterfinal. And yes, there is no hiding from that. It was a wasted chance to get in there. Teams like Chelsea are out. Either Arsenal or Liverpool are going to be out tonight. You know, big teams were drawing each other. We could have had another clear open route towards an empty Wembley, but still Wembley nonetheless. Yeah. You know, and to a semi-final or a final. So for a club like us that are, you know, that I suppose they're riding the wave of optimism at the moment, I suppose, more so than anything else. And obviously we've done some great work in the transfer market. It would be nice to win today, but on the greater scheme of things, the fact that this cup is going to be over in like 4 weeks' time. I think it's nearly, or does it take a break and come back in the new year? I can't remember.
It kind of goes to December is the quarterfinals now, so it falls back in line with what it used to be, and then the finals at the end of Feb. I did do some research on that, thinking that there might be a Wembley on the cards, but obviously I was wrong.
Yeah, because that was kind of what I was thinking, was that, you know, if there was a bit of a break, it's obviously going to, because the Champions League is going to have to come back at some stage. The group draws are made today, and then they're going to have to find time for that. So I suppose losing this or winning this would have been nice. It would have been a little bullet in the chamber for something, to have a little bit something to look forward to. Fingers crossed, and God forbid that anything did go pear-shaped in the league over the next couple of weeks. It would be something nice to look forward to. But look, as I say, I can't really dwell on a game like that tonight. If Dean Smith really wanted to get into the quarterfinal, we would have seen Jack, Tyrone Mings, and Watkins probably start. For me, I think he wants to secure safety a lot earlier this year. And to be honest with you, I think that's the smart route. My heart says yes. I really want a Carabao Cup. No, they called it a Carling Cup. No, they called it a Coca-Cola Cup earlier on as well. So Jesus, that's really showing the edge.
Yeah, it's been Worthington Cup, I think it was at one stage as well. Got to call out my dad at this point, who's texting me, knowing full well that I'm doing this, and he's sat here watching me. But he actually just texted me to tell me how much he liked you, Neil. So you're a big hit in the Bardell household. Didn't say anything about you, Ty. So
yeah, I still love you, Mr. Bardell.
Read into that what you will. Probably a good time as well to mention that this show is in association with Purity, who have sent me a lot of cans, to be fair. So if you do fancy a little bit of a discount, go onto their online store, #VillaView will get you 10% off. Really good stuff. I never, to be fair, used to be much of an ale drinker, but this Purity has won me over, and I like a bit of ale now. So yeah, go and check that out. Nothing wrong with getting Villa cans. I don't know whether they deliver worldwide, but yeah, have a look. Check it out now. Ty, you worried about the feel-good going at all? Neil's just touched on it a little bit. We shouldn't. The feel-good shouldn't go, should it? Because there's so much good going on in the club at the moment. Getting knocked out of the League Cup by Stoke, it's not that much of a massive deal in the grand scheme of things.
I don't think it's anything. Nah, the feel-good factor's still in my heart anyway. And, you know, I interact with people on Twitter on a daily basis. You know, I've hundreds of mentions a day, you know, of people who I communicate with. And the feel-good factor's still there, mate. You know what? I genuinely think that, you know, that wasn't a full-strength squad. Nothing to worry about, mate. The window's not open. I think maybe one or two more through the door. Keep that feel-good factor rolling in. Get some good results in, mate. A few shock results as well. Keeps that feel-good factor coming in. You know, I'm 100% positive about this season, mate, if I'm honest.
And Neil, I'm going to come to you because I feel like you might give a more reasoned response than Ty, or even myself if I always ask the question. But just talk to me a little bit about Henry Lansbury. Because I've got to be honest, he really frustrates me. But I don't know whether I'm just being harsh. But what do you think? Because he should be taking a game like that by the scruff of the neck, and you just didn't notice him at all, and you just think you're on a fair amount of money per week. I'd just like to see a little bit more.
I'm going to do a sales pitch for Henry Lansbury, and I'm
Oh
going to
yeah,
say if there's any good championship clubs out there, you need
uh,
this guy. This guy is everything you need. He sits in the pocket, he sprays it around like Tom Brady in his palm. He is a quarterback. You think of Perlo, think of the championship Perlo. This is the guy you need. He's got lovely hair. He's got absolutely
definitely.
fantastic
Are
hair.
you his agent,
You
Neil?
want I will be after this. If you when crowds come back and you're a championship club, if you're struggling for people to come back, he will bring the female element back into into the ground, and he will. You look, he's just fantastic. I will put him as Mr. December in every single calendar for the next 4 years because you're going to take him on a 4-year contract to cover up for his 40 grand a week. And Henry Lansbury is he's the bomb. That's what I would say. But no, to be serious about Henry Lansbury, I think that it must be very difficult for him. Like I do feel sorry for
Yeah,
him because he's never going to play his way into this team. He's never going to do it. He's like, he's so far down the pecking order, and I suppose his star is so dull at the moment that he's not going to be able to play his way into the team. He did have a chance last year. You know, that Crystal Palace goal goes in, he probably gets a chance in a couple of more games and he gets to play onwards. But Ross Barkley coming in, Conor Horan, it's just no place for him. And I think that the games like this were the shop window for him, really. I think they were. But look, all accounts, really nice guy. Gets on with a lot of the guys there, and he is talented. It's just I don't think it's ever really clicked with him at this club.
no, I think injuries have curtailed him as well. To be fair, he's definitely lost a yard of pace. I don't think he was ever the quickest, but you can see the injuries. He said himself on social media, "Please God, get me some new hamstrings." So I do feel sorry for him from that respect. But do you know what I mean, Ty? Like in a game like that against Stoke reserves, you're playing central midfield. You're getting time on the ball. I just like to see a little bit more.
I mean, I've seen someone compare him on Twitter to the outfield Mark Bunn. That did tickle me a little bit. I'm not going to sit here and knock Mark Bunn. But yeah, I mean, if there's a time where you're in the shop window, as Neil said, and there's a time for a performance, it's that one. We know he's got a shift in him. It's just, if ever that light switch is on, it's one or the other, isn't it? There's never a medium with Lansbury. It's either a great game or, he's non-existent. And, I think today, collectively, I think, nobody put in, an outstanding performance. So, yeah, I don't really want to sit here and say, Lansbury this, Lansbury that, but, there's 11 men on the field, ain't there, at the end of the day? It's a collective thing. So, but yeah, I don't think his performance was anything to bark about, mate.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because really, sitting here doing this, I have to go through and pick out certain players. You just have to do it. But what you say is true. No one stood out tonight at all. It was a pretty ordinary performance, if that really. And I do appreciate that it is difficult when you're having a disjointed team and you're putting a load of people together who don't play every week. Either sometimes can go like it did last week and it's absolutely brilliant against Bristol, or you have a night like tonight where literally nothing comes off and you never look like anything happening for you at all. Let's move away from the game a little bit because, quite frankly, I don't know what's worse, watching a game, having to come here and talk about it, or being someone that has to sit here and listen to us talk about it. It's like just a combination of terrible things. But Neil, Ross Barkley has signed since there was last a Villa View. It's only on loan, but that is a massive statement signing from us, isn't it?
Huge, absolutely huge. I can't remember the last time that we would have been able to attract an English player in their prime. I suppose really Tom Heaton, yes, being 33 years of age as a goalkeeper, you could potentially say he's in his prime as a goalkeeper. But an outfield player like Ross Barkley, I think that the biggest thing from that is that it just shows how important the 5-year contract for Jack Grealish was, because like he name checked him straight away. I loved the way that he mentioned Tammy Abraham said that the club was brilliant and that the fans were amazing, but Ross Barkley has, like, he was a child prodigy. He was the next Wayne Rooney, quote unquote, the next Paul Gascoigne, whoever you want to say about him. Wherever he's gone, people have had good things to say about him. You always see it with a 16, 17-year-old that breaks on that their career kind of stalls at some stage, and maybe he needed to reinvent himself. Being a number 10, he's moved back into the number 8 role. It was interesting for Dean Smith to say that we often do play with a 6 and 2 8, because I don't think it's ever been verbalized that that's how we play the game. But Dean Smith did actually kind of verbalize it. He said we play 6 and 2 8s because I think a lot of the questions being asked were how will he and McGinn kind of play in the same team. So the fact that Dean Smith said that means that is very much kind of the plan for it, I think, for how it's going to go. But obviously, look, he's a creator. He's a metronome. He dribbles the ball. He's a powerful guy, and he's going to be the tallest midfielder that we have. 6'2". Before we came on there, we were discussing height. We were discussing how tall we were, and Ross Barkley's 6'2", and he's going to be our tallest midfielder.
You're not far off him, are you, Neil?
No, I'm more John McGinn. I'm about 5'8".
Yeah, Neil doesn't strike me as being the target man type. Let's put it that way. Sorry, Neil just took
Phillips. I was the Kevin Phillips to the Niall Quinn.
Yeah,
definitely.
So Neil touched on it, but Jack Grealish, you can't overstate the influence that he has at this football club, really, because that deal, I don't think it happens if Jack Grealish isn't staying at Villa. I think Barkley initially perhaps had some trepidation about coming to Villa, but then Jack signs the new deal, gets in his ear, and he turns up. We all know we're really lucky to have Jack, but this is just another facet of it, isn't it? The fact that he's basically attracting Ross Barkley to Villa. I mean, we're a massive club. We don't need anyone to attract people, but you know what I mean? Barkley's coming because he wants to come to Villa and he wants to play with Jack, and that's massive.
I think it's crazy that you hear about that in interviews. When do you hear a footballer talk about, me and Jack had some words, me and Tammy had some words, I think John Terry probably had a pull on it as well, mate. It's a good network of people as well as a solid foundation of players and backroom staff. I mean, the only downside to Ross Barkley signing is I'm not going to see him slide into the Holt Lower when he scores a goal. Like, the chances we might never get to see him play at Villa Park, in person.
Oh, yeah.
And that really upsets me. Like, the thought of just not seeing it, mate. Because the thing is, with a Villa, you don't choose the Villa chooses you. That's how I describe it to people, as a fan, Villa chooses you. And I feel like, 99% of people who come through the door, especially when there's a feel-good factor, they love Villa. They just learn to love everything about Villa, everything about the history, everything about the club, everything about the fans. And I really do think he's going to end up becoming a proper Villa.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Because Tammy's essentially selling something to him about the crowd that he might not never see, Neil. And it's quite a sobering thought, really. I mean, did I miss going to Villa Park tonight? Probably not. Obviously, it wouldn't have been the greatest night in the world. But do you know what I mean? We won't get to see a player like Ross Barkley play for us, perhaps. And Tammy's selling something that Ross Barkley might not ever experience, being in that home side playing for Villa.
Yeah, well, it's a funny one. It's a funny year, as I say, and that is definitely a dynamic that I don't think any player is really going to take that too much to heart. Like, he could still be a hero for Aston Villa. Pings win in the top bin, and on Sunday against Liverpool, I think the blue half of Merseyside would erupt. Never mind the Clareton blue half of Birmingham, but it'd be fantastic. But yeah, it's. I still have a sneaking suspicion that there's more to this loan, and I know that Matt Maher from the Star and a couple of more people have come out and said it's just a straight up loan. There's no obligation to buy or anything like that. But at the end of the day, player power would dictate an awful lot. And if he goes back to Chelsea and Chelsea sign a couple of players, and he's had a good season with Villa, surely must put us in pole position. And I think for a player like Ross Barkley and I always think, and this is really unfair, but and I try and suppress this thought an awful lot, but whenever my initial thought when Ross Barkley was linked with us was, please don't be Tom Cleverley. Please don't be Tom Cleverley. Even though Cleverley did okay for us, I just think that Ross Barkley is so much more. And if we do have this try before we buy situation with him on loan, and if he did reject the likes of Leeds and West Ham and so on, and obviously the chance to stay on the bench for Chelsea and move up north towards Villa, then that's promising. That is promising. With player power these days, and I don't know how long his contract is, but maybe he doesn't have much left to go because he's been in Chelsea for the last, I think this is his third year in Chelsea, that, we might be in pole position to sign him long term. But that's the ever the optimist in me. There's been a lot of times we've had players on loan that I think we should have bought, but just didn't work out. So hopefully we put ourselves in the position to do that with a good league finish this year, and keep a player of his quality.
Yeah, and Ty, another key thing I think with this signing is it takes some of the burden off Jack a little bit. Often teams double up on Jack, and Villa aren't always in a position to take advantage of that. It's another ball carrier. If Jack's marked, it's someone else who can carry the ball and carry yards with the ball, which really pretty much other than Jack. I know McGinn sometimes does his swim run, as Neil calls it, but you know what I mean? It's someone else who can carry the ball, and that's important. Someone else who's creative.
Yeah. The middle of the field is not an area of the pitch I'm worried about this season, if I'm honest. If you imagine a game where we've got Grealish on form, Watkins on form, Traore or Trez. Trez, when he has a good game, has a really good game. McGinn, like he played in the last game, unreal. Barkley as well. Dougie's on his A game. Mate, that is one area of the field I'm not worried about. I feel like we're starting to add so much quality to the first team. Depth is a little bit of an issue, but, it's not something you can overcome in, one transfer window in terms of quality. But yeah, I think it'll be great. I'm so excited to see them two alongside each other, mate. Like, I literally can't wait for Sunday. I mean, Sunday's going to be a real test, of how far have we actually come, because, we've had a good run of fixtures, won those first two games, start of the season, but, Liverpool might be a reality check a little bit. Liverpool are still Liverpool. They haven't really done much business in the window, and that's because they don't need to, because they're world class. They're the best, up there in the best team in the world at the minute, probably alongside Bayern, I'd say the two top teams in the world at the minute. I'm not worried about the fixture against Liverpool, but I think it will be a bit of an eye-opener of how far we have actually come with our signings.
Yeah, Neil, people say it's a free hit, which I don't particularly buy, just because you've won your first two. I think Dean Smith said it actually in his interview, just because you've won your first two games, it doesn't make the Liverpool game a free hit, because you never know how many points you're going to need later on in the season. But we gave them a scare last season without perhaps being any side of any note in the league. You feel like we're going to have something about us this year, and I actually think, I'm not saying for 1 minute we're going to win, but you know what? I think we can give them a game.
Why not? Why not? It's 11 against 11. They're going to have to come unstuck at some stage. I know they went the majority of last year unbeaten, and I can't even remember who beat them. Was it Watford? I think it was.
Yeah, Watford.
I think it was Watford beat them last year. Yeah. Well, why can't we beat them at the start of the season? As I say, I'm criminally optimistic going into Villa games on a normal basis. I definitely have a lot of the claret blue glasses on, but I think that there is a formula there. It's trying to keep that formula intact for 90 minutes against Liverpool is the hardest thing. Sadio Mane and Salah and Firmino, the fluidity of that front line, of the Fabinho is so pivotal to them there, and I think that we might see Ross Barkley play maybe in that 10 role a small bit more, or push onto him an awful lot more and try and get beyond him and get in between. Because if you get beyond him and get in between the two centre halves, you tend to get joy in there, because they're looking for a physical battle. But if you get a tricky feet inside there, so I think there's a couple of things that kind of go in our favour from a tactical point of view. And Ollie Watkins and stuff like that is a type of striker that can get in around people's feet. And while Van Dijk is the best defender in the world at the moment, if you've got lots of people running at you from different angles, and you can still target defenders, to try and get at them. And I think once you get past Fabinho and nullify him, it exposes the two centre halves, and then it becomes pretty much, you get foot races and you get mismatches at times. So interesting to see what happens, but keep it tight in the first couple of minutes. Try and catch him on the break and then see what way the game develops. I think it's going to be the best thing. I'm a lot more confident in our backline now, and also Emi Martinez and goals as well. There's just a certain kind of impervious kind of feeling off him as well. So he does have against Arsenal and Liverpool last year, he does have kind of their strikers' number, saving a lot of shots from them and being used to facing shots from them and keeping clean sheets and stuff in the Community Shield and the FA Cup final as well. So yeah, I'm clinging to all the straws here to see if we've got a result.
I love it, mate.
It's all good stuff. I mean, if you think about it, Leeds on the opening day, that they caught Liverpool's high line a couple of times, and you look at that game, Leeds scoring 3. I'd say we're better defensively than Leeds. Obviously, Leeds are still adapting to the league, so there's no reason why we can't get anything against Liverpool on Sunday. And I'm really looking forward to it. I think, like one of you said, I think it's a really good barometer. And just finally, Ty, obviously Gareth Southgate named his England squad today. I mean, to be fair, it was a 30-man squad. If Grealish and Mings aren't getting into a 30-man squad at the moment, I think there would have been something seriously wrong. But I did have that little bit of nerves that he wasn't going to make it. He wasn't going to pick him. So how pleased were you to see Grealish named in the squad again?
Oh, mate, I was over the moon. And the thing is, that font ain't the easiest to read either. So I'm looking now, I'm like, right, he's in the midfield. Right, no, he's not there.
Yeah, down as a forward.
Blimey, that striker lot's big, because Dominic Calvert-Lewin takes up most of the top row. And then he's like, yes, there he is. First thing I did, mate, was I sent Kev a Snapchat, like, screaming down the camera, go, come on, Kevo, come on, Kevo. So, yeah, he was buzzing as well. Like, so, but yeah, over the moon for him, to be fair, mate. I hope he, long may it continue. And, the thing is, Jack gets a lot of hate nationwide. And, as he said in an interview that I think he said a coach had said to him when he's young, that pressure is a privilege. And I just can't wait for the time where in a major tournament and he's featured in it, and just to see the entire nation sing Super Jackie Grealish, mate, it's going to be a goosebumps type of moment. One of them where the entire Villa fan base can say, I told you so. Like, that's what the hype's about. There you go. I'm just so happy for the kid, mate.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying long may it continue. I mean, long should it continue? It should absolutely be happening. Yeah. He's more than good enough to continuously get picked in the England team, let alone the England squad. So just a few bits of admin to finish. Give Purity another little plug. Make sure you're visiting their website and getting yourself 10% off their Villa/beer goodies with #VillaView. That'll get you the 10% discount. And also, don't know whether you've got yours, boys, but we've got the VillaView mug collection that's just come out. A few questionable choices in there. I don't think Jack was a questionable choice, but have you two got your mugs yet?
I've a Gabby one on order.
Yeah, you went for the Gabby one.
I went with the Gabby one.
Let me hide my address. Mine's been delivered. I just wasn't here when it came. Yeah, so I've got to get up and go and get it. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, mate, I'll be having a few coffees out of that in the morning.
Yeah, make sure you do visit our shop. I think the web address is thevillaview.tv. I can't see anything on the screen at the moment other than Ty and Neil, so I haven't got a clue what's flashing up, what's going on in front of me. But yeah, I think it's thevillaview.tv. And then if you delve onto our store, you'll be able to look at our mug collection. I think there's 5 to choose from. I mean, why not get them all if you fancy getting the whole collection? But boys, it's been brilliant to have you on. It's been a good chat. It was a pretty miserable game, to be honest. I didn't really enjoy it, but I've enjoyed speaking to you both. And make sure you check out Neil's podcast for the love of Paul McGrath. Ty and myself went on earlier in the week. Really enjoyed speaking to you. We're definitely going to have you both on again, but Neil, we'll definitely be getting you on again as well, because quite frankly, I really enjoy talking to you, and you've got my dad's seal of approval as well. So yeah, we'll get you on again.
Thanks very much, Mr. Vedel. Thank you.
We'll be back on Sunday for the post-match point again, talking about Villa playing Liverpool at Villa Park. Just hoping for some positives to talk about, to be honest. But as I say, I've got a sneaky feeling we might do something. So yeah, come and join us on Sunday around 9 o'clock. After that, it might not be 9 o'clock. I've got no idea what time the kickoff is actually. It might be closer to 10 o'clock actually by the time the game's finished. But yeah, look out on our social channels and you'll get all the information you need around the next post-match point. Thanks ever so much for joining us. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.